Welcome back to Naruto Anime Review. This is part 14. And this will probably one of the two last ones basically I do. I talk about the movies before I sort of switch this to sort of regular basis to talk about whatever new episode airs and I give my opinion on it. This one I'm talking about the first four Naruto Shippuden movies. Now I've already talked about Blood Prison and Road to Ninja. The last I'm going to talk about soon, Boruto must save for later. Okay? First, I want to talk about Naruto Shippuden, the movie, which was the first movie on this era. And here's something interesting, though. Unlike the first three movies which were released during Naruto, this one was actually released before the start of the Shippuden era movies. This movie was released on August 4th, 2007. Yes, August 4th, 2007. Which that is, let's see, August 4th. Let's see. Actually, this was released after the start of the series. August 4th. Let's see. This one was actually released between episodes 23 and 24 of the series of season 1. But I had mistakenly thought this was released just before the start of it. My mistake on that. In this particular movie, it's Naruto doing bodyguard duty, protecting a priestess. A priestess who has a very striking resemblance to Hinata. I'm not sure if this was the animator's idea to have her look exactly like her. I'm not kidding. If you see her in the movie, she looks exact. It's like she looks exactly like Hinata, except they made some coloration differences. Like her eyes are different. Her hair color is blonde, not blue. I think her eyes are like brown, and also unlike Hinata, basically her hair is long. But the priestess basically she has like a small little ponytail on the bottom of her hair. She wears a coat like Hinata does, and she has like a small shirt underneath. Shorts and sandals. That's her outfit whenever she goes out into the world. And Naruto basically doesn't like her attitude that much in the movie at all. But as for the villain, the movie starts off with quite bizarrely with apparently look like Naruto is going to die. Basically, it's a vision of the future. This is actually referenced later on, and this becomes a plot point later on in the movie. Now, this is also the first movie where it features characters like in the movies. It's first time we get a chance to see Tenten, Neji, Tamaru, Tsunade, and Suzumi. Yes. Suzuna, yeah. Also, Might Guy appears in here as well. Yeah, and these are actually these characters' first time they ever actually appeared in the movies. And when they show off the villain itself is very interesting. Basically, he frees this demon's spirit and uses his own body. Apparently, he seems like he's a medical ninja. Not much is explained about this particular villain, despite his motivation to release this demon and try to conquer the world. Excuse me. This one's a little more epic of a scale of a movie than the previous three movies are, where they were confined to one area where it doesn't affect really the whole world. This one is the first one they actually do that for. And they actually protect the priestess really well in the movie, and they have to escort basically Naruto, Sakura, Kakashi, and Team Guy have to escort the priestess along with someone from her temple to the sealing shrine to seal up this demon. Okay, seems simple enough. First, here's the thing. First, Sakura is the one carrying her, and then it's Naruto later on carrying her throughout the whole movie. Yeah, he carries her on his back, piggyback style. Because they're jumping from tree to tree, and they need to do that. And since she's not a ninja, she can't exactly do that. And she still has her stubborn attitude of the whole movie. And then when they get to the shrine, of course, Tamaru, who appears in the movie, appears for a cameo and says like one line, and that's it. Um, and of course, all of Team Guy get the chance to actually fight some of the guys who are working with the main bad guy, along with Sakura. She doesn't do very much in here, but she does a little bit of something. Um, Unlike in the previous movie where she did a lot, this one they trimmed her down a bit. Where, yeah, everybody's wearing the Part 2 attire, and she does kind of the same thing she does normally, just escorting her and keeping an eye on her. And of course, the companion dies while substituting her, and they eventually, well, get to, and of course, Neji, who basically is a Jonin at this point, he takes control of the situation, and um, he has it where Naruto has to escort her the rest of the way while they deal with the other evil ninja that are after them. Yeah, it's kind of this way. So he escorts her there. Sometimes her being stubborn along the way. He does eventually get her there, perfectly fine, while they take on a bunch of soldiers. So he basically distracts the soldiers long enough for her to get inside the temple from the ceremony. And Naruto eventually does defeat the soldiers with a little bit of help. So he goes, and everyone else keeps the soldiers distracted. Where he goes and helps the priestess. What is her name? Her name is Shonoin. Yeah, and they had this big epic battle inside the shrine, and of course Naruto forms a giant Rasengan to destroy the demon. And of course she gets kind of close to death, but basically she uses the bell that you see a bit early on that her mother gave her, because her mother was the previous priestess. Basically, she uses that bell to sort of form like a protection thing over Naruto, so he doesn't die. So they defeat the demon, and then she's like, okay, they think her job is something. No, she needs to continue it, but she needs to continue the bloodline. So she asks Naruto, and this is by far the most hilarious post-credit scene I have ever seen, where she asks Naruto to have a child with him, and somehow he being clueless, not knowing exactly what the heck she's talking about, he basically foolishly agrees, while everybody is shocked the fact he did this. So, is this all a part of the series? No, because the films don't really matter over the course of the series. It's just kind of a funny ending, where, yeah, it's so funny that this priestess, because Naruto saved her life and protected her, she's like, okay, I better have a child with him. Oh my gosh, it is so really bizarre. It would have been so funny when everybody's like, okay, you agree to do this, you guys stay and do this. And Naruto's like running scared. Yeah, that would have been kind of funny, but in the scheme of things, it probably didn't matter. Though this film is only about 95 minutes, so yeah, it's about the same length as the previous movie. So, it's a pretty good movie overall. Next film, which is 93 minutes, this movie is called Bonds. This one I have a slight problem with, because, well, when I get to... It feels like certain scenes were left out of the film for really no explained reason. Basically, the film starts off with the Leaf Village being attacked by people called the Sky Country, and it feels, when I'm watching this scene, it feels like I'm watching Pearl Harbor. Yeah, with these ninjas and these, well, in their mini planes, doing the same things the Japanese did to the U.S. back on December 7th, 1941, when they attacked Pearl Harbor. It feels like the Pearl Harbor, it looks like you're watching the Pearl Harbor attack again. I mean, from someone who's an American, basically, you would get that. But this could also be similar to when the U.S. bombed Japan about a couple months after Pearl Harbor was attacked. It's similar. It's a couple of similar circumstances. Maybe the creators of this movie were inspired by those real life things, so they used that. Now, it's explained a little bit later on exactly who the heck these people are, and exactly their motivation for this, because they want revenge. What happened in the last Great Ninja War, where they were almost wiped out. Yeah, it's not properly explained. Excuse me. So Naruto basically tries to help people. Okay, so one person he frees while helping an older guy free this other guy, and of course this guy apparently is a talented medical ninja. Though he doesn't use the chakra thing, he's a talented doctor, and he does eventually save this person by putting like a piece of pipe in the person's lung, because apparently there's a hole in the person's lung and needs to breathe. So yeah, it does help, and it seems like this is traditional medical stuff, unlike the way they do in the show, where medical ninja use chakra to heal up people's wounds. It's basically like real life surgery stuff, basically real life medics do. And Naruto takes the guy to the hospital, which he helps save, and then of course this girl, which he does not know it's a girl yet. He doesn't find out until a little bit later that he's a girl, that this guy is a girl. Of course, she apparently is wounded. He passes out. Apparently, he talks about this older guy, and she's like, so that's his name. I think his name is what's his name? Amaru is the girl. Shino, Dr. Shino. Yeah. That's the guy's name. And so they decided to go to her village to check it out, figure out, see where it's okay. And Sakura and Hinata go with her, and Hinata in very creep. I don't know if it's very creepy. I'm not sure what the mood was. And she's still blushing toward Naruto like she normally does, and she says, "Naruto, I'm under your care." Naruto's like a bit shocked at that, a bit scared. He's like, "Okay." Yeah. And of course they go to the village via a canoe, and in order to hide, basically him and Amaru are in one boat, and in the other boat is the doctor with Hinata and Sakura. And in order to hide, those three go hide over in the bushes, and since there's not enough time, Naruto flips the canoe, having both of them go into the water. This is of course when Naruto finds out that it's a girl, and apparently there are piranhas in the water. I am not kidding. There are piranhas. Yeah. I'm like, when the heck did piranhas show up? Yeah, it's never explained how the heck piranhas are even there. Just that, oh, there are piranhas, and they bite Naruto's leg. And of course, Amaru basically saves his life using traditional surgery. Of course, Naruto's blushing for some reason. Heck, even Sakura is like, why are you blushing for? Probably because he enjoys the fact that there's another a master-student relationship, and he appreciates it because he, of course, has one. He has that type of relationship with Jiraiya, basically of respect in a way. That's probably the reason why he's blushing. I highly doubt it's due to the fact that Amaru's a girl. Yeah, I highly doubt that. This is actually the first and probably only time in the movies he actually does blush. He never even blushes in the show at all. He never blushes. And of course, when they get there, and of course the doctor, he supposedly dies, but he finds out he's actually alive later. Not incorrectly diagnosed the fact the guy dies after he saves Amaru's life from a bunch of traps that he probably set, which I'll get to that in a minute. And of course, they split up basically where Amaru and Naruto go look at this place, and Hinata to look for the villagers with Sakura. And of course, they split up. And of course, Hinata is never seen in the film again. She completely disappears. No explanation what happened to her. She just walks off, and of course, she's seen briefly, and of course, something happens. I don't know. And of course, she's never seen again until later on in the movie where she's trapped in a cell. I'm kind of like, when the heck did she get there? And she's there with the villagers. Yeah. So they get to this ruins, which turns out to be a flying fort, which turns out to be posing for a flying fortress, and Amaru's teacher, turns out to be the guy behind everything, which comes completely out of nowhere, and he uses some chakra to make himself young, for some reason. Oh yeah, and Amaru basically had a thing for him. Okay, fine. Oh yeah, and Sasuke's in this movie as well. Yeah, and apparently this is before Orochimaru's death. Maybe they're delaying it. I don't know. When this film came out, let's see, second 2008. Let me think. I think this was released during season 2. No, not season 2. Maybe 3. Yeah, this was released toward the end of season 3, but Orochimaru didn't die to the start of season 6. Yeah, so they're trying to delay his death until that particular season. And of course, Sasuke's out to retrieve him because of his, well, medical knowledge. And of course, the guy gives him a scroll. Yeah. Heck, even Naruto's surprised to see Sasuke. And of course, they briefly work together to fight off this guy. And Amaru goes to find the villagers, which that is where we see Hinata again. Of course, she does free them after she takes out the power in the pipes. Because apparently, if she touches the bars, it drains her it drains chakra, which I'm kind of like, okay. Yeah, it's like some things in this movie are not properly explained. Then they're freed. They go out to one of the flying sky ships to get off the place. And of course Sasuke gets out of there too. And of course Naruto decides to stay. Of course, this is of course after defeat the main villain. They gotta do something about the place. So Naruto uses the Shadow Clones and Rasengan to basically destroy this flying fortress. And of course Amaru decides to save it after he falls off. Basically straps on the thing. Of course, I don't know why Hinata couldn't do it either. Fly that thing either, because well, she has better she has good chakra control. I'm kind of like, okay, so if Hinata has a thing for Naruto, why doesn't she try to save him? It's like half the movie she's completely useless. So she saves her, and of course Jiraiya shows up in the movie. I should also point out that in this movie, Kakashi's there as well, along with Shino, Shikamaru, and Kiba. Yeah, they're all in the movie. And they're used pretty well in the movie, which I gotta praise the movie for doing that. Yeah. They're in the movie, and while, let's see if I can find it here. It's Sai, Shikamaru, and Shino, along with Kakashi, who takes out the ships where those flying ninja came from. Yeah. And of course, those flying ninjas are taken out by the energy from the flying fortress. Jiraiya sends out Gamakachi to sort of uses him as sort of a bouncing pad to slow down Naruto and Amaru. And of course, Sasuke takes back the scroll to Orochimaru to delay his life for another few seasons before he eventually dies at the start of season 6. Overall, this movie was pretty decent for what it is, but I kind of felt like certain stuff was missing. I like the fact Hinata's in the movie and she's used pretty well for about half of it. Then she disappears, and then she's like completely useless after that. It's like whatever plans they probably have for it. It kind of feels like there are scenes missing from this movie. The story is fine. I don't have a problem with the story. I kind of felt like certain scenes were missing. Like when the heck did Hinata get captured along with these villagers, and when the heck did the village get catch on fire? And also, why didn't Hinata go out and say, oh yeah, because it's the one-shot character who actually saves Naruto instead of basically one of the characters from the show? Excuse me. I don't know why this is. And of course, Sakura does jack squat in this movie at this point. Yeah, she doesn't do much of anything. Yeah, another movie where she's completely useless. Yep. But it's still a decent movie for what it is. My only problems are this. Scenes feel like they're missing. And 2, the villain comes completely out of nowhere, and it's somebody we never expected to be the main villain. As a matter of fact, we never expected anybody to be the main villain. Or the fact this guy doesn't give a damn about the Sky Country at all. Basically, all the soldiers get killed. And he's fine with that. It's kind of like the whole thing is about bonds. Fine. But I kind of felt as though they should have done this villain a little bit better. And apparently he wanted power, stuff like that. It's like he wasn't properly explained. Or where the heck how old this guy really is. It's like this character does not get a proper backstory. It's like there's nothing to this character. Amaru gives a better. They do a better job developing her than the guy who turns the main villain. Yeah, at least in the previous film, the guy at least was a bit interesting. As a villain, this guy is not interesting as a villain. The guy is like OP, and I don't know what is with him at all. So now we move on to Will of Fire, which is the third Shippuden film, but overall it's the sixth film overall for the series. Now this is the first film where it has all 12 Leaf Ninja in the film, and they all get a pretty good amount of screen time. Heck, even the Sand Siblings, all three of them actually physically appear in this movie. Yeah, and one thing I can praise over this one, we know who the villain is, we know his backstory, he's interesting, and he's got good motivation, and basically, him is not about world conquest. Him, it's becoming about the ultimate ninja. Despite the fact this is kind of a ripoff of Orochimaru, but it's fine. He only appeared for this one movie, and apparently he has a past with Tsunade, which, the only slight problem in this movie is that she apparently is given a limited time scale to stop this guy, or the feudal lord will destroy the Hidden Leaf Village. I'm like, really? Why the heck would you do that for? You need the Hidden Leaf Village to protect your freaking country. So why the heck would you destroy something that you basically need? Why would you destroy your protectors? Because we have a guy who's a rogue ninja. Apparently, is from the Hidden Leaf Village, who apparently wants to overthrow the 5 Shinobi nations for no explained reason. And we also get parents start up another war before the actual Fourth Great Ninja War between the Hidden Leaf Village and the Sand Village because they think Gaara died. Yeah, and of course Naruto does fight Gaara, and of course, and one thing I can praise for this movie, and this I can give much better praise over Blood Prison. Every character gets something to do. They get a good amount of lines, and they all get a chance to take on like several individual villains in their respective teams. Though Hinata basically works really well with her cousin in this movie, and despite like Hinata doesn't interact that much with Naruto in the movie, she at least is utilized a lot better than she is in Bonds, where at least she's in a good chunk of the movie. And here's the thing, Kakashi goes AWOL because he's brainwashed. So Tsunade basically sort of declares him a missing Ken. I think that's what they call him. And they and Naruto and Sakura basically don't believe that, despite the fact that Naruto tried to stop Kakashi, but Shikamaru basically locked him up in a cell. Sakura, overhearing this, basically rushes over, frees Naruto, and they go after him. And then, of course, Tsunade basically hearing about this, of course, Sai was not even there for this meeting. Basically, Tsunade orders the other teams, so orders Team 8, Team 10, and Team Guy to go after Naruto and Sakura and bring it back to the village. Not knowing the fact that Sai went with them. Yep. And I'm kind of like, okay, I don't get why, but okay. And of course, they do reference Ashima's death, which had happened prior to this movie. And frequently, one of the most frequent topics of conversation in this movie is the Will of Fire. Like, what is people's Will of Fire? And at least this movie basically describes, like, yeah, that's their person's Will of Fire, stuff like that. Yeah, it's really interesting. And we also get a chance to see another fight between Naruto and Gaara. Heck, Gaara was basically surprised that he kind of felt a bit happy he basically fought Naruto. Despite the fact they're friends. Naruto did defeat him with one punch. But he didn't kill him. He didn't go back to his ways before. But he allowed Naruto to pass because he defeated him. Let his motion to get through because he cares about his sensei. So they go out, and of course everybody tries to stop them. While they all take on the main villain's henchmen. But yeah, they go after them. The villain himself is defeated in the movie after a massive battle, and of course while the rest of the team's taking on his creature, Team 7 takes on the main villain and wins. They do free Kakashi from his control. Excuse me. The one thing I'm still questioning how the heck they accomplished this. There's 4 other ninja that's in that room where he has everybody strapped up to these giant stars. And how he got them, never explained in the movie. So, yeah. And they battle him, defeated him, and there was a gay joke at the end that maybe Kakashi has a thing for Naruto. I'm like, and Hinata is just sad at that, and Naruto doesn't want anything to do with it at all. Despite the fact Kakashi is not gay, he's actually straight. So yeah, it was a misunderstanding, and of course Naruto was running away from this by the fact he risked his life to save him. Though Kakashi does appreciate it, even though he disobeyed orders to do it. But it was a pretty decent ending nonetheless. So, the thing with World of Fire is it's a much better movie than Bonds, due to the fact that interesting villain, doesn't feel like scenes are missing, and ever gets something to do, and they get good mountain lines. Better than they do in Blood Prison. And now comes a film that I have a bunch of problems with. Lost Tower. A film that features only a few characters from the show. It features Yamato. Basically features the current Team 7, which is basically Yamato, Sai, Sakura, and Naruto. And they're stopping a rogue ninja from the Sand Nation. And of course there's some time traveling. Apparently they go back about 20 years. I'm like, okay. Yeah, and of course it's Mento basically figures this out. There's a young version of Kakashi's movie, along with a young version of Koronai, Ashima, and Guy. Now, that scene introducing them basically for that one scene, that is fine. I don't have a problem with that. I do have a problem with Kakashi, which I'll get to in a minute. And basically, Naruto meets the queen, which he does not know immediately is the queen until a little bit later. He does save her life after she basically nearly falls off a tower, which he does save her life. But basically, him getting confused is basically what she did. Basically, her payment for saving his life is to get slapped on both cheeks and an elbow to the face. Yeah, despite the fact he was not behind it, and he does apologize for it. Eventually, it's explained that, well, yeah, these masked people were actually Elite Ninja. As for who they are, it's Mento, who is Naruto's father, Chojin, who is Choji's father, and of course Shino's father as well. Yeah, they're all 3 in the movie. And the one thing I'll get to in a minute that they do not explain is exactly, they don't tell these 3 guys don't tell Naruto who the heck they are, except they're from the Hidden Leaf Village. I don't know why. But yeah, and of course, the villain of course kills the predecessor queen, which, nothing unusual for there. Because this is actually the 3rd time they've actually used this little plot thread, I don't know why. Oh yeah, he's a puppet master. And does Naruto bring up Sasori? Nope. Sasori is never mentioned in the movie, despite the fact Naruto has fought puppet masters before. Well, at least he's encountered a puppet master before, Sasori. And by the way, because of the fact the guy is from the Sand Village, do the Sand siblings actually show up in the movie? No, they don't. They do not at all. And I will get to my problems. There are 6 problems I have with this movie. And of course, after they defeat the villain, they go back in time, and of course, they erase their memories. Well, Naruto and Yamato's memories. I don't know why. It says, oh, it doesn't flow time. Like, why you erase the time travel's memories for? That's stupid. Yeah, and of course, history fills itself, and Naruto runs into the queen's daughter that he met in the past, and of course, he gets spaced out because he thinks he's seen her before, and that's really it. It's an okay movie nonetheless, but let's get to my 6 problems with the movie. First, Kakashi, a guy who only appears for 2 scenes the whole movie. Yeah, he's brought along this mission to go to this city, and he comes along because the sensei requested. Fine. But his task, never explained in the movie. Another problem I have with them is they don't tell Naruto who the heck they are, which I'm kind of like, okay, I don't get why. I mean, I get the fact Naruto recognizes Mento because he's seen his face before on the Hokage mount. Yeah, I'm glad the fact he mentioned that. But yeah, they reference the fact the third Hokage is basically the third Hokage at this point. Okay. The villain is way overpowered, and this is one of like two or three things they actually frequently do repeatedly in the movie. Where they repeat three things over and over again. The main villain looks like he's close to defeat, gets a recharge, and this happens repeatedly. Minto telling Naruto to protect the queen. He does this a few times. And at first, the queen is not all believing the fact that the main villain is behind, the guy who is main villain is behind everything. She doesn't immediately believe it. She does eventually get into it. Let me think. What else? I think it's just those two things. Another slight problem I have is why the heck did the queen decide to strip down to a couple pieces of clothing for really no explained reason after Naruto gave her chakra blade? Yeah, as for the reason why she did this, never explained. She just felt like doing it. Yamato, a guy who only appears at the beginning of the movie and at the end of the movie. Even though he does go back in time with Naruto, apparently it's explained, he spends the whole time, apparently was unconscious at the front gate the whole movie. Which I'm kind of like, I don't get why. It's just, he couldn't help out prior to helping him stop the main villain. Okay, have the guy absent for no explained reason, and him hitting young Kakashi, that's fine. I got no problem with that. Kakashi's like, why'd you hit me for? Because you bullied me for years. Yeah, so that made sense. But my biggest problem with the movie is when they go back to the present, Mento decided to erase Naruto and Yamato's memories for no reason. I'm kind of like, why the heck would you erase the time traveler's memories? You should erase your own frickin' memories. Or as a matter of fact, there should be no mind wiping here at all. I don't get why Mento thought this was a good idea. I mean, oh yeah, it says it disrupts the flow of the timeline. Here's the thing. It doesn't at all. It would not hurt for Naruto to retain his memories of the time traveling stuff at all, and yet they think this is a good idea to have him go basically just wipe his memories, and the fact he vaguely remembers. I mean, I get the fact, yeah, because his memory is erased, he thinks that she has a striking resemblance to the queen, that he forgets. Excuse me. But the mind wiping thing was completely unnecessary. But yeah, those are my 6 problems I have about the movie. It's a decently told story. The villain is barely got any motivation. Yeah, that's not a problem I have with the movie. The villain has got like no motivation at all. He says, oh yeah, he wants to conquer the world. Why? Never explained. At all. In the film. Even though, yes, it's a decently told story, another problem I have with the movie is the fact that even though, yeah, Sai and Sakura in the movie, they do jack squat. You see in the beginning of the film, do they follow Naruto back in time? Nope. Just Yamato does. He's the only one who does. And Yamato does jack squat. He just lays unconscious at the front gate the whole movie until Kakashi finds him. I mean, yeah, I'm happy with the fact Naruto recognizes Kakashi, even though he doesn't have a Sharingan eye. But yeah, he recognizes him. But, yeah. I mean, despite the movie's flaws, it's a decently told story. Great animation, great voice acting. It's just that, if you rewind a bit, basically, you could listen to my problems I have about the movie. But despite its 6 problems, it's a decently told story. And this movie I was looking forward to watching because it's basically the only time in the film's Naruto does an actual time traveling. Though the first he goes back as 20 years. Now, am I going to complain about the one scene featuring Guy, Kurenai, and Ashima? It's fine. It's a one scene thing that's quick because they want to flashback to the village the way it was at this point in time. It's a pretty decent scene for what it is, and it's nice to see the third Hokage in his only film appearance. Now, the rest of the time you see him is basically his face in Hokage mount, which you see that in every episode. But seeing the physical appearance of the Hokage, for featuring him in his only film appearance, his appearance in this film was fine. Don't have a problem with it at all. He didn't stay on screen for too long. He was there for a couple quick scenes. but that was it. Yeah. So now as to why Chanel's father has the gourd with the insects, that's probably how the guy works with him being an insect carrier. Even though it's different what his son does. But yeah, it's decent for what it is. But I don't get why Naruto that these guys don't tell Naruto who the heck they are. Last time I checked, it doesn't interrupt the timeline at least for two of them, since one of them he actually met in present day. Yeah, he's met two of them already, and they're both alive. Minto he hasn't met yet at this point. So yeah, and of course it is referenced Judge Dry is dead at this point. So yeah. So now I should point out that this film is the second shortest film of the series, being only 85 minutes. It's a few minutes longer than the previous movie, but yeah. Um, this film was released on July 31st, 2010, which, let's see. What season would that have been in? Was it 5? No. 7 maybe? Okay, from what I can tell, this was released between episodes 171 and 172. Now maybe at this point he's already fought Pain, but it could be you could place this prior to Naruto going off on the Toad Mount, and this is and they do reference Jiraiya's death. Now, one I have this is a small minor problem I should bring up. Naruto this Rasengan several times in the movie, and Minto doesn't recognize the fact Naruto knows Rasengan until he does his last official before he gives him his chakra to form the last official we've seen in the movie. I'm kind of like, you've seen Naruto do this several times, and yet the last time you're shocked the fact that he knows Rasengan? I don't get it at all. It's a big problem, but yeah. But at least this film doesn't feel like there's scenes missing. Yeah, there are plot holes in the movie, but it's a decently told story, nonetheless. Okay, so that's it for this part. Stay tuned for part 15 when I talk about this week's episode of Naruto Shippuden. But that's pretty much all of the movies at this point, with the exception of the film The Last and Boruto. I'm saving The Last I'm going to do soon with my friend Edgar, do a joint review of that. Boruto, I haven't decided when I'm going to do that one yet, review that yet. But it'll probably soon, but not really soon. Excuse me. I could save one of the parts, but I also want to talk about the other stuff that goes along with it. Okay, so I'll see you all in part 14, where I talk about the next episode of Naruto Shippuden. Okay, until then, I will see you there. Bye.